Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to BLAW Live. So glad to be with you this evening. This is Bishop Larry Ward. And as we're here on this Tuesday evening, as we're talking about this continuing subject that's really what I find very interesting is women in leadership. I want you to just give a shout out to someone, text somebody, send out a little bit of a ping, as it were, and let them know that we are on BLAW Live tonight. And so I'd like to get right to introducing our guest this evening in the person of Pamela Kazow. And so we're delighted to have her with us. And we're going to just let you know that she has done so many things in public, in the actual health community. And as we're looking at this subject on women in leadership, we want to let you know that we're so appreciative of Pam's contribution. So just a little bit about her. Pamela Kazow is the Associate Director in Development in the Development Department at the Massachusetts General Hospital. She has a master's degree in business management with a concentration in healthcare management. And Pam has over 24 years of experience in the healthcare industry, and she specializes in building relationships, customer service, partnerships, and also she's a coach and she does training, and she also does strategic planning and business development. Pam is a member of the Department of Leadership Employee Advisory Group, and she focuses on diversity and employee retention. She's a recipient of the 2019 Boston YMCA Achievers Award for her work that she does in helping to shape the careers of the minority community and working with young people as a supervisor. And she's also a mentor, and she's helped them to really adjust themselves and point them into a direction for a career path. And she's been doing that for over 20 years. So I'm delighted tonight to have Pam with us tonight. And so Pam, welcome to BLAW Live.
Thank you, Bishop. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we've been talking about leadership in many different spheres, and we've had some very powerful voices on BLAW Live for the last several Tuesday evenings. And so tonight, we're so glad to have you as a leader in the health community. So first question is, what do you feel, what do you think it takes to be a good leader?
What I would say is one of the key things is integrity. If you don't have integrity, I don't see how you can be a good leader. Also, a good leader develops those that he or she has oversight over. They also, like some of those who've gone before me, they said they motivate people. And the last thing I would say is that they create other leaders. They make opportunity for themselves to become leaders as well. And so there is a legacy of leaders that they leave behind. And so to me, that is what makes a good leader.
So in your leadership, and as you're talking about these practical, everyday things that leaders have to do, can you talk about your work, particularly your work as a leader in the healthcare industry, and you're working also in development and getting donors and meeting all these wonderful people that can really donate and being philanthropic to Mass General Hospital. Talk about that a little bit for me.
So in the development world, sometimes for me as a woman, for me as an African-American woman, I would say, it could be challenging as to how people will perceive you as a person of color. And so you have to be really secure in yourself and who you are. As someone that is in a position of authority, to help lead and to guide and to help people especially when you're dealing with people that are very influential, or people who are themselves leading great organizations, how you position yourself to develop a relationship in order to get to know who that person is and what their needs are and how you can meet their needs. You have to be very assured in yourself. And so it takes a lot of self assessment and determination, that and self-awareness of who you are as a leader, that you can lead, you can guide them into areas that they need to go into, and not be afraid of a person's position in life. You can't be intimidated by that, because they would not be served and you are not going to get your job done. And so you really have to have confidence in yourself, because it's a totally different level when you're dealing with CEOs and people that own so much and have so much. You have to really have confidence in yourself.
So as you're talking about this, having confidence in yourself and really coming to working in this environment where it could be actually challenging as a leader, can you tell me a little about maybe the mentoring that you have received, or coaching, if any, that you found it helpful as a woman in leadership in the healthcare industry? I don't know if you kind of remember some names off the top of your head, or maybe there's some persons that really were helping you along the way. And how important it is that to have a mentor and a coach as a woman in leadership?
It is crucial to have a mentor. I remember when I first started, my very first person that thought healthcare was a very good place for me to be was Junior Ford. He thought that because I had the ability to kind of foster relationships really quickly and maintain them, that it would be a good place for me to start. And so he was always someone that I lean on. He introduced me to healthcare. And then after that, he continued all along my journey, but then there were other people that I had to lean into who were doing and going places where I want to be. I wasn't there yet. And so when I switched from the operation side mostly into the business side, I remember there was one person, she's since passed, Felicity Goodrich, that took me under her wings. I knew nothing about the business side of healthcare. I always thought hospitals, patients, appointments, imaging, all that stuff. I never knew that there was like this business side where you can actually bring money into the hospital as well. And so she was like a mentor to me, guiding me in how to deal with, that was my first exposure in dealing with high profile clients and learning how to deal with the different personalities, the type A personalities, people who are driven by their work and they're accustomed to getting, things done and getting them done expeditiously. And at first it was intimidating for me, dealing and knowing who the person is. And she would say to me, just forget the title. Just think about the work or what it is or the request that you need to get done. And so once I forgot about the title, I was able to get the work done and be successful. And for someone who, I believe that is something that I probably was born with, developing relationships, creating relationships quickly, even when they're challenging. I kind of have the ability to see the other person's side. And early on years, I had no idea what it was, but it's empathy. You know, I could put myself in their position as a leader, as some person running a Fortune 500 company, and understanding the pressures that they have, and sometimes being scared and how it comes across as aggression, especially when it comes to men. You know, they mask, I would say, their anxiety with aggression, so to speak. And so it might come across as though they're very aggressive in the way how they approach you. But if you empathize with them and where they are and what they're doing, then you don't allow yourself to be easily offended, and you stick to what it is, the task at hand. And so I also watch she's my current boss, watch how she navigate those challenging times and see how she did it with such poise. Marianne Gibbons, phenomenal leader. Quiet storm, I call her, able to navigate and to bring calm to very chaotic situations that could get way out of hand. She always bring them back down and get the job done. And so I watched her, and she started grooming the things and that she saw inside of me and mentoring me. Sometimes, you know, mentors sometimes tell you some things that you don't like, and you get a little upset. But when you sit alone and you reflect on what they say to you, the conversation, it's like, you know, they have my best interest at heart. And so you allow yourself to be disciplined. And that's what I had to learn, that mentors are not there to tell you what you want to hear. If they're good mentors, they're there to develop and grow you into where you want to be. And so that was something, and she's still doing that. She's still doing that. And I'm grateful for her mentorship and her guidance in her friendship.
Wow, that's great that you had so many mentors and so many people to help you in areas of leadership that could help develop you. And I think that's a real important part of who we are as leaders, that we pay tribute and honor those who have really taken the time to pour into our lives. And that's great to know that there are those leaders around you. And so for those who are out there and you're in leadership positions, or you're actually on that trajectory and leading something, or anywhere that you're actually giving direction, mentorship and coaching and having someone that can help you along the way is so important. So I want to say also, before I ask you another question, for those of you who are listening, please ask some questions. If you have some comments, you can put it in the chat box. We'll see it. And we can actually have a moment where we can take your question and we will have Pam share what she knows and give you some advice on that. So don't just take the liberty to do that. I want to talk to you about the transition pieces of leadership, getting to leadership. Now I know that you weren't born in this country. You were born from the island of Barbados. You were in the island of Barbados, America. So give us a little bit of a quick scenario of how the transition from one country to America, getting involved in different aspects of education and then moving into leadership. Could you just give us a quick scenario of how that trajectory worked for you?
Having good friends and people that value education was very key. It was not an easy decision to make, leaving everyone in Barbados and stepping out on your own. But having good friends, people who you know had your best interest at heart, and also people who know God, because that was very important to me. Success is nothing without God at all. And so wanted to be around people that are grounded. And I had that. And had people to push me, like, you can do it. Even though you didn't complete your education and degree in Barbados, you can still do it. And so had that support. And coming into to MGH, one of the things that they have is some associations. And remember joining, going back to Mr. Ford telling me to everything that I can get myself involved in, get involved. He would always say, get involved, because there are people coming behind you that the same way how I help you, you're going to be able to help others. And I would laugh in my head at him at first when he said that, I'm just starting. How could I help some person? And so getting involved with the, at the time it was called the Association of Multicultural Members of Partners, and seeing the offerings that they had opportunity to see, there were colleges that would come and they had college fairs and stuff like that. And so I said it was a good time for me to accomplish a goal that I would have been the first of people in my family going to college. And I always wanted to go to college. And when the opportunity came, I grasped it. And so had people along the way cheering me on. And, the Ford family is very into education. And so I could not be around them and not educate myself and not move forward in my education and pursue things. And so going along after graduation, sometimes you think, okay, I have my master's, I'm going to get my dream job. It don't happen that often. There is a process of you have to now redefine yourself. And I find, especially for women and for women of color, it is very challenging to navigate that ladder. And sometimes, even when you pair yourself up with others who look like you, sometimes that door is not open for you. You think that, okay, they're in a position that they can help lift. There's a book, I don't remember the author's name, but it calls Lift as You Rise. And so it was disappointing when you expect that and it didn't happen. But there are other people around. People like Diane Austin. She works in workforce development. She was very instrumental in a lot of my staying power and perseverance and any kind of thing that would help me along the way, any kind of program that would help me to establish myself, to be connected to the right people, become someone that who was shy at first about connecting in certain areas to someone who became like a really great person that have great networking skills. She was one person that presented opportunity for me to do that, and learning how to do it well, how to go out there, sometimes the only Black person in the entire space, or the only woman, and being in spaces where you don't think that you belong, but you're there anyway, and having the courage to engage in conversation with people at higher level. And so you gain information as to how they get where they are. And so it was inspiring for me. And so it was like me becoming this network and junkie kind of, because I saw people in different areas that I aspire to be, and I want to pick their brain. And when you find themselves in a relaxed situation and environment and you walk up, sometimes they recognize you from interactions over the phone, or sometimes there are people that you only see them on television, but then you see them in real life and they're real people that will talk to you. And so those are some of the things that some of the areas that and steps that I took to navigate that challenging ladder after school. You know, and one thing that I would say is that every step that you make is important, because when you arrive at that destination, you have more empathy as a leader than if you just came and got it just like that. I think it's like the pressing and the crushing develops you in a way that you become very strong. And when challenges come, you can stand because you're grounded, you're more grounded.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very challenging, you know, as you took those steps coming from the West Indies to America and then getting involved in the system of education and just plowing your way and pushing your way and being mentored and taking those opportunities. I like to just kind of dovetail on that. And so because you're working with young people and you've been working with young people for a number of years, um, let's kind of look at it where, as a leader, you're talking to a young person and you want to give them some advice. What kind of advice would you give a young woman who's aspiring to be a leader, to aspiring to do something, whether it's a business, own a business, because I know it, also you have started your own business in your own event planning business. So what would you tell a young person who's has some interest and needs some advice?
So you did mention me working as a supervisor. And so these kids that I work with, sometimes they're not sure exactly where they want to lead, because they're getting information from their parents. Their parents want them to do this. And society is telling them that they can only do this. And so they're not sure which pathway that they should take. And so most of the times I would sit them down and I would ask them what it is. If you didn't have your parents telling you what to do or society dictating what it is that you need to do, what it is that you would do, you would take off and just do it. And then you see like a smile come over their face. This is really what I want to do. And so because I have them for that short time for the summer, I would see, especially if it's something in healthcare, I would see if I can find some person that is in that area that would give them a few minutes of their time and just talk to them about it. Because sometimes their perception of what they think they want to do is not exactly what it is. And so to have them partner with someone that's already there and leading in that area, it gives them a better understanding of what it is they want to do and how they can grow into that if that's exactly what they want to do. And so it's important for them to find someone that they can trust with whatever it is that they want to do, and allow them to pour into them. Sometimes it is challenging because with all the external things that's happening, but find some person that is either doing something that you want to do or have resources that they can give to you to get you to actually experience where you want to go, and know that is something that you have to develop, and a leader never stop learning. If you stop learning, you're not going to be good at leading, because things change. As we see, things change very quickly. And so if you don't learn how to change with that, embrace the change, and to have a strategy in how you're going to move forward in that change, then whatever you're doing will cease. And so you become irrelevant. And so you want to be a leader that's always on the crust of of things, on the pulse of things. And so they should surround themselves with someone that can do that for them.
Well, that's good. I have a question from the audience, and kind of like focusing around this question of how do we develop young people. And the question is, what type of education would you suggest? I said first, what kind of education would you suggest for people who want to go into the business side of healthcare? How would they pursue that? What would you suggest?
Well, for right now, a lot of the times people, it was good years ago to get your bachelor's in business, but now the game has changed. And so you have got to make sure that you get your master's in business. And if there are any business programs that are out there, Lead Boston, there's so many different programs that are out there, the partnership. These are business programs that help you to develop your leadership skills and also provide opportunity to network with other business leaders. There's so many different leadership programs out there that you should embrace. You should make sure that you're a part of, so that you can really grow and develop your business skills, so that you become competitive, because it is a very competitive market. And so you want to be competitive. And so you can't just be satisfied with your associate degree. You can't be satisfied with a bachelor's degree. And I believe that soon, very soon, unless you have a PhD, you probably will not gain as much respect in your field as someone else. And so you got to be prepared to, as you work, continue to educate yourself.
Oh, that's interesting how things are going so quickly when it comes to education. And so in this vein, what kind of quick pointers would you tell a young woman who just desires to learn the business? They want to learn the business. So you talked about the educational side. Is there any other quick pointers that you would tell a young woman who desires to learn the business side of healthcare?
You can volunteer. You can volunteer your time. Make sure that you have mentors that are in healthcare, mentors that are in the area that you are looking to expand or to become a leader in. Don't be afraid to do some networking. There are a lot of professional associations that are out there now. There is one that I love to attend called Get Connected by Colette Phillips. And it's amazing the many industries, business industries that come together, an age group from every generation comes together, from every ethnic group come together, and you can network and get to know the various types of businesses that are out there and who's hiring and who would want to be your mentor. It's very important for you to do that. You cannot become a great leader in isolation. It never happens.
Well, that's great. That's a great tip. Just networking, being visible, working with people, open. That's great. So I have about a minute left. And I want to use this 30 seconds to 45 seconds for you to talk about what does your faith do in relationship to the work that you do as a leader?
Everything. I cannot separate the two, because I need, especially in this time, you need wisdom. And you need wisdom from God to navigate challenges that come up just like that. You need discernment to really see what's happening Otherwise, you can make a mistake, or you can mistake something that some person might have said to you. You might think that it is something that's targeted at you, and it's not. And so you need heightened discernment, and you need great faith, because sometimes you don't think the needle is going to move for you. And that's where faith come in, because all things are possible with God. And there's nothing that is for you that anyone can delay or take from you. When God make a promise to you, he keeps it. And so if you don't see anything happening for you in the way of leadership right now, God is still molding you, and you have to believe that God is molding you and preparing you for where he wants you to go and not where you want to go. I experienced that. I really thought that I would not move forward because it seems so long a journey, but being obedient to what God is saying is really important. And it teach you how to be obedient at work, and how to be humble at work, even when you don't want to be. Your faith makes you want to do that. And as a relationship manager, love has to be at the base of that. And if you don't have God's love, you can't do it, because they're very challenging relationships that you have to learn how to navigate. And so I can't separate the two. I wouldn't make it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And I think we've run out of time. So I appreciate you coming on BLAW Live to share your insights with us as a woman in leadership in the healthcare industry. And we wish you all the best, and we bless you in your work. And so for those of you who are on BLAW Live tonight, thank you so much for joining. God bless you. I just want to let you know that each Tuesday night, we're going to continue the series. We're going to be following up and talking with more women on leadership. And so you want to tune in on BLAW Live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and give you his peace, his shalom, nothing missing, nothing broken. And we'll see you again. Thank you, Pam, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Bishop.
Have a good evening, everybody.